Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Dusting Off Warlord Saga of the Storm, featuring Kalten the Bleak, one of the last Deverenian Warlords released in by Eldorak back in Light and Shadow, alongside I believe Madriga was the other one. So this guy, I didn't really play too much in Epic Edition because I didn't really like it very much, but and I'm not good at this game now, but I mean back then I was even worse. But when I saw this guy, I was really like, this guy seems really good. Like, this guy seems really good. And I think this is just my personal opinion. I think the power creep in Epic Edition was kind of absurd. Like, some of the stuff we saw out of Epic Edition was just, wow, okay. And so when I first got a look at this guy, I'm like, yeah, that seems really good, and it seems like something that would happen in in Warlord at the time. Kalten the Bleak is he is an evil wizard. He's a Deverenian. He's got fairly basic wizard stats: +6 attack, 14 armor class, +9 skill, and 3 hit points. He has the trait. Kalten the Bleak has +1 skill for each spell in your discard pile. Very good, just trait to have right there. So as you're using your spells more, generally speaking, that was around the time where the spell DCs were being based on your skill. So it's kind of like the more spells he casts, the better he gets at spell casting. I think that's very thematic, very flavorful. But he also has this order. Discard a spell. Target character within 2 ranks must succeed with a magic save. DC 8 plus Kalten's skill or stun. So it's important to note that this behaves a lot like he's casting a spell. It even requires you to toss one from your hand. But the ability itself is not a spell effect. So things that are immune to spells, this still works on. They can't magic resistance it, which can be important, I think, in certain times. It is also interesting to note, this was the crazy part to me, is this is not once per turn. You can keep doing this as often as you want to. Every spell you toss makes it harder for it to resist it. Functionally speaking, it's starting off at DC 19, because his skill is +9, and after you've tossed that spell, you have an extra spell in your discard pile. DC 18 or stun. Starting off, at the cost of tossing the spell, oof, man. I have done great with this guy. I have only played him a couple of different ways. Like, I'm sure you can come up with something more creative than what we're going to be doing here. But yeah, we are going to deal with that stunning ability. We're not going to completely build for it, but we're definitely going to take advantage of it. So as far as starters go, very straightforward. 2 Justinians and 3 Deverenian courtiers. The courtiers are there mostly because they're fairly durable, and yeah, I don't really have as much of a problem. How do I word this? Kalten's ability can hard stop a lot of problem things. Like, if a Feral is about to freaking take a chunk out of your guys, Kalten can oftentimes kind of put a stop to that. If someone is, like, you know, dropping a pair of quick jackals, yeah, Kalten can deal with them pretty easily. So I find this start works better. I don't know why. I've just had more success with the Justinians over a Justinian and a Dora. So, and you could probably run either one, but whatever. Again, another video where we are starting one of those 2 clerics, seers as our rank 2. I'm unapologetic about it. It's fine. As far as characters to take advantage of stunning, so there's 2 here that we're going to be running. The first one is 3 copies of Predatory Slime. Oh, good lord, does this guy, I think, work very well with Kalten. So he's got 3 + 0s. His stats mostly suck. He's got 10 armor class. That's terrible. The 3 strikes is nice. 2 hit points. He doesn't have any skill. He just has the react. After he targets a stun character with a melee strike, this strike is a critical success. You don't have to toss cards for this, and he's got 3 of them. So, yeah. I have paired this guy quite a bit with things like, I think it's Sarakian Ooze. I have a lot of fun with that. Kalten's save DC, though, again, it can get really high really quickly, so fairly solid. I used to run Fiendlings as well, and that was the limit of the characters that I was using that can do stuff. But when 4th edition dropped, out of Crimson Coast, we got Count Brutan. I fucking love this guy, okay? Not even just in Kalten, just in general. This guy is so flavorful to me, okay? Spend order, he's got level 2 fighter stats, they're not very good. Spend order, perform a +7 melee strike against target stunned character. Bruton gains power attack +10 for this strike. So, actually, I should probably look this up now, because I'm only just now noticing this. Actually, I don't think I can. This doesn't say within one rank. I think this still has to follow normal melee strike rules. I'm not really sure, but a +7 with power attack +10, total bonus +12. Yeah, feelings might be better. I love this guy. I actually played this guy quite a bit in 4th edition in Bremen, because he very flavorful to have this Deverenian count, and the flavor text on this guy too. Like, honor only applies when fighting honorable opponents, Thessarian. You I shall put down like the dog you are. Fucking awesome, okay? I love that guy, he's great. We're rounding that out with a bunch of level 1s and a couple other random characters. So, out of 4th edition, again, a lot of 4th edition cards here. I have mentioned before that some of the level 1s that the devs got in 4th edition were really, really pushing for you to not play Gene Court Initiate, because Gene Court Initiate is so good. But we've got 3 copies of Black Sun Shieldman and 3 copies of Relian Pikeman. These are both just level 1 characters that have +2 attack and 12 armor class. The Black Sun Shieldmans, they have a stacking bonus against range strikes for all the characters that are in this rank. It does include them. And Relian Pikeman, if you want initiative this turn, he gets +2 attack and +2 armor class. Again, these are just bodies, and even though their attacks are only +2, they do a fairly good job. And again, a lot of the things that Kalten can kind of troubleshoot with his ability, these guys are fairly good at. Maybe not amazing, but they're perfectly serviceable, especially when they have a lot of time to kill that stuff, because next turn, when they become they go from stun to spent, you can just stun them again. So yeah. Rounding it out, we have 3 copies of Squire Aragan. Was also in 4th edition, I believe. I don't have 4th edition versions here. I think her flavor text was like, "Brine fiends are approaching, my lord," or something like that. Aragan's melee strikes inflicted additional wound to characters without an armor or shield equipped. Double wounding on stuff, and yeah, that works out fairly well. And finally, we have, of course, it's devs. We got a copy of the Sable Knight. Like, of course we've got a copy of the Sable Knight. Fucking awesome character. Just amazing. But we've also got 3 copies of Prewit the Benighted. So, this guy he's a Storm Wraith, he's a wizard. He just has one ability that's really all you use him for, or you can try to hide behind him because he's planar, and it's usually the game's probably not good, in a good state for you if that's what you have to do, but it's an option. Once per turn, after one of your other devs casts a spell, a character that was adjacent to a target of the spell must succeed with a magic save, DC 9 plus Prewit's skill, or suffer 1 wound. He's basically tacking on a ball lightning to when Kalten casts a spell to something that was next to what you were casting the spell on. So, I don't think I've ever really... You can buff this guy's skill. I don't think I've ever really done that. You probably can. You can double up on some of the items to buff Kalten's skill and any extras you throw on a Prewit. And again, Kalten's ability is not a spell, so you can't use the Prewits with that, but we do have quite a few spells in this deck, so... the action base it's almost all spells. The exception to that is Take Advantage. So Take Advantage is a classless level 1 order action. All it is you play it before a melee strike roll targeting a stun character. The strike is automatically successful and inflicts an additional wound. So again, in particular, one of the things I love with this is using this with Squire Aragan. This is, if they don't have an armor on, this is an auto-hitting 3-wound strike, which that kills a lot of stuff in the game does not survive that. So, and again, you can have other players use Take Advantage as well. It'll still be doing the extra wound, and a lot of times that's plenty. But really, with Aragan, yeah, the first couple times I did that was a freaking blast. As far as spells go, so you can kind of change this up in a lot of different ways. I think the only real spells that I would really keep in here are the defensive ones. Offensive, we got 3 copies of Medusan Lord's Gambit and 3 copies of Arc Lightning. Medusan Lord's Gambit, this is... I can't remember what I was playing before this. I started this, I took it out, I can't remember what I put in. But I did change this out for something, but I can't remember what it was. You just target 2 characters in different ranks who must succeed with a magic save, DC 5 plus the caster's skill, or suffer a wound. They fail by 10 or more, they roll a critical failure, it's an additional wound. And again, Kalten's skill, I mean, this is starting off at DC 14. No, DC 13, excuse me. But you have so many spells in here that this gets high fairly quickly. I'm not building to have them fail by 10 or more. You can do that. I think I've seen quite a few decks that do that. I think I have several decks that do that. But really, I just like this because this is getting two different characters. You can get, a character in their rank 3, a character in their rank 2. And importantly, the big part about Medusan Lord's Gambit is characters may not react to or during this action, so you can't do a whole lot when this is coming at you, except hope you make the save. The base DC, again, is not particularly high, but that's really easy to fix. And again, if you build for this, it's not difficult to make that, that can be problematic. Arc Lightning is, it's kind of similar. You target a character within 3 ranks. They must succeed with the magic save, DC equal to the target's armor class, or suffer 2 wounds. This is not, the DC on this is not, doesn't have anything to do with Kalten's skill himself, but this can be a really, really good armor breaker. And I also like that this, again, target within 3 ranks. Typically, Kalten is going to be moving forward, so you can reach out and touch stuff in their rank too. So I'm a pretty big fan of that. And again, we don't really play too many build decks in my meta. There's a reason for that, and it's all. I think I'll get into that in a later episode. But this, a lot of times, the DC on this is not super high. I think this card was actually originally printed because I think this came out in pre-campaign. If memory serves, I think this came out in like Nest of Vipers or Tooth and Claw or something like that. This was the anti-Zod card. This was like Zod's AC is like 28, and so DC 28 or suffer 2 wounds. Like most of the time, he's not really making that reliably. So I think it works pretty good. The coup de grace spell, though, a lot of times is Frozen March. Frozen March is a level 3 spell. Target up to 3 characters within 2 ranks. Each target must make a magic save, DC equal to the caster's skill plus 7, so it starts off at 16. Stun ready characters who fail. Wound and stun spent characters who fail. Inflict 2 wounds on stunned characters that fail. So again, it's not really difficult to stun them with Kalten's ability first and then blast them with this. One of the interesting things about Frozen March is it's targeting 3 characters, but they don't have to be next to one another. You can have, a guy on the end and then 2 guys on the other end. And it also does not need to be 3. It's up to 3, which sometimes that is important. So, oddly enough, this is, I believe, one of the only like oomph spells here that Prewit can cast too if he has to. The DC is not going to be as good, but I love this card. Someone was talking about Tersoth on the forums or on the Facebook group not terribly long ago, and I love this spell with Tersoth. It's one of my favorite ones. So. We do also have a couple other just random, things here. We have 3 fiery bolts. These are just generic range attack spells. It's +4 range strike. If there are at least 2 other characters, in this rank, you get +5 marksmanship for the shot, and you can apply it to the spell. So this is potentially a double winning shot. And if you don't need the +4, it's just doesn't have any value. You just toss it, and it's fine. As far as defensive stuff go, these are the ones that I don't think have really changed a whole lot, except for the first one. So for a while I was running Dispel Magic, because I actually really like Dispel Magic. I like that this can affect both wizard spells or cleric spells. I like the fact that Kalten's skill can usually get fairly higher than other people's, and this is usually in his advantage. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. Because you're devs and you have dice manipulation, again, Justinian can help hedge this in your favor. But when Counterspell came out in 4th edition, I want to say Counterspell is a strict upgrade to this, I think. Counterspell, bards can play it, that's great. After target, opposing character pays the cost for an action card that is a spell, succeed with a magic save, DC 3 plus the target skill to cancel the action. I think Counterspell is just a strict upgrade, and I think that's why I switched this. This is just, again, if someone drops a Mass Blessing or someone's casting something that isn't Medusan Lord's Gambit, you can stop it with that. That's pretty cool. And again, Kalten's skill, he's starting at +9, but if their skill is also +9, this is DC 3. Like, he pretty much makes this as long as he doesn't roll a 1 or a 2. And since his skill is constantly rising, a lot of times this is just don't roll a 1, and that's pretty great. And then we have a copy of Improved Invisibility and 3 copies of Stone Skin. Now these are the ones that I'm almost considering dropping either one or most of these. Not because they're not good, but because these can be kind of again, we play for fun. We're trying to win, but we're there to enjoy each other's company. We're there to shoot the shit and just talk about random stuff. And both of these cards, these are kind of like asshole cards in my opinion. Improved invisibility, you can only play one, which is probably a good thing. But it's not difficult to recycle this a bunch of times. And this is just like the worst thing ever. Stone Skin is, it's worse for longer, but it's not as bad worse. So, improved invisibility, spend order attaches to a character within 2 ranks. While attached, the character gains stealth +10. No one cares. At least I don't care. And may not be targeted by characters. Nothing can really get you when you actually, there might be a couple random things. But for the most part, when you have this on, nothing gets you. You just sit there and you hide behind this for freaking ever. This effect ends after the character performs a strike or action that targets another character, or the end of next turn. So if you drop this, if the first thing you do, you're like, oh, and you play improved invisibility, and you target one of your level 1s, they can't do anything to him for the most part until the end of the second turn. Oh yeah, and so yeah, this is kind of a dick card, so I should probably remove that. I want to say recently I was playing Azaran the Foul. I was playing a Dragon Ranching deck, and I dropped that on one of the dragons, and my opponent just, he was very salty, and he was totally justified in it. Stone Skin is you would target a character in your army, and you attach this card to the character. While it's attached, you have the ability. I guess this would be a trait, actually, or yeah, whatever. Characters without a weapon equipped may not target this character with melee strikes. So they can still shoot you, and if they have a weapon, they get around this entirely, but discard this card at the end of the turn 3 turns after this one. 3 turns after this one. Good heavens, man. Like, you can hide behind this shit for... I'm getting a little carried away. I'm very excited right now. I'm sorry. You can hide behind this forever, okay? And again, you can play 3, at least I'm pretty sure. You can play 3 of these. Now again, some decks will have the weapon, and they have the out to it, but it's Kalten, so the guy with the weapon, you just stun him, and you're like, yeah, don't gotta worry about that guy. Oh, man. And they're all spells. These do take slightly longer to hit your discard pile. Yeah. I think, I should probably look this up. Improves invisibility. It says the effect ends after its duration ends. I don't know if that means you toss this. I think this still stays on them. It just doesn't do anything when it's there. So I don't know if that ever really enters your discard pile. The Stone Skins do, but it just takes them a very long time to do so. So yeah, those are the ones that I would not consider dropping if I was like, I really want to win with this deck. But I am considering dropping them because they're kind of not fun to play against. So yeah. And then just some random items here. We got, again, great card, love it. Symbol of Cerberus. A copy of Helm of Vision, which is basically the same thing, but it's a helm. And this one, this is almost a troll card for me. It's not very good, I don't think. We have the Lycos Familiar. This gives you +3 skill, which helps Kalten's ability. It has the order, spend Lycos, discard a steed or familiar within 3 ranks. Really, again, a lot of my deck building decisions, they're based on funny things that I've done to people. It's like, there's not a whole lot of merit in this. I'm not saying this is terrible, because it's not, but, what was it? Somebody had, like, it was Wrath with, what is the stupid drag? I think it's Bloodspite? I'm pretty sure it's Bloodspite. And the Lycos ate the dragon. it was really, really dumb. And I think Bloodspite is one of the things that, yeah, it did get around, like Stone Skin and stuff like that. So, yeah, you can replace that with the Falua Familiar or with the Nihil if you change your... You can replace that with a bunch of stuff. I'm sticking with that because, yeah, it was very funny when that happened. So, that is pretty much the main deck. That's the current build of it right now. And again, I don't play him too many different ways, I don't think. I think at one point I was really, really heavily going chips in on stunning them and abusing the fact that they are stunned. It might be better. I'm not really sure. But I was playing like Words of Woe, which I featured in the Queen Yahaya video. You have to include someone who can cast that because Kalten does not have any of the necessary traits. Or subclasses, whatever they're called now. But -10 to all rolls, that's a pretty big penalty. And yeah, the problem with doing that with Kalten is after you stun them, like they're not really doing a whole lot. I was playing Eye Eater, auto wounding stun characters. waste a life to make things auto-fail, certain doom. Certain doom I was comboing with Punch Drunk. This was really, really, like, I think this was really bad. I don't think this is good, and I think that's why I don't play it anymore. And plus, neither of these are spells, so... something you can also do, too, is you can run some of the Dev dice manipulation. You can run Nina Worth, because she can force an opponent to reroll a save, and this will work with Kalten's ability because this does not need to be from a spell, and he is forcing a magic save. You can also run Princess Dashkova, which she does a very similar thing, but she can affect any roll. She's just higher level, so yeah. And Kalten, generally speaking, he does go forward. It is worth noting that this deck is not especially fast. Like, I don't have any movement to get you know, like the ooze. What do you call it? The predatory slime. I don't have any way to move that, and so it just has to slog its way up forward. It's just most of the time, like the things that you're really worried about, you can kind of spot deal with them with Kalten. At least that's what I've found. So you can run Evan Meredith and other things to buff your skill. Evan has the interesting thing too that you can use this for things other than your skill. I think actually some of the games I played, because I was playing her at one point, I had random situations where actually buffing my armor class was actually a little bit more useful because someone had something that could get me, because you're in rank 2. You're very vulnerable to range strikes when you're in rank 2 and stuff like that. I think someone had like a Lorik, and I was like, that guy is freaking annoying, and so I was like, I don't want him to have to roll 13, I want him to have to roll 17, and then I still had the Justinian, so he's got to roll really high. So yeah, you can do that, and other stuff to just buff your skill. Interestingly enough, Kalten the Bleak, when he came out in Light and Shadow, he did have kind of an entourage of characters who I think were kind of built to work with him. Cedar the Avenged, great character. If he dies in the first turn, you stun a character within 1 rank, and if it's not the first turn, he gets +2 attack for each spell in your discard pile. He synergizes fairly well with Kalten. The problem is I don't have too many ways in this deck to kill him myself, and I think Cedor's value, if you don't have a way to just pop this guy yourself, his value goes way down in my opinion. So yes, he's still fairly good at stopping Artek from doing his thing, but yeah. Then we have Alina the Fervent and Dame Olivia. These both get buffs for spells in your discard pile. Alina gets skill just like Kalten does, and she can remove spells in your discard pile to make characters. Target character within 2 ranks must make a magic save, DC 15, or be unable to perform actions until end of turn. I'm not saying that's a bad ability. It just feels somewhat redundant with Kalten because Kalten's the save DC is higher, and most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time when you're stunned, you can't do anything anyway. So I guess this would give you 2 potential ways, because not being able to perform actions stops a lot of stuff. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do when that's happening. But again, it's an ability that lowers Kalten's skill, and they're drawing from the same resource. Dame Olivia is kind of similar, except she gets bonuses for range strikes equal to each spell in your discard pile, +2 for each spell in your discard pile, and you can remove a spell to do a +0 range strike. I don't really like her with him. I think she's okay in certain things, just not with him. Again, they're fighting over the same resource. Or I guess not fighting over the same resource. Her being able to use her ability kind of hurts him, so yeah. One thing I was also running for a while, and I think there is merit to this, it's kind of overkill, and you'd probably need to remove the Medusan Lord's Gambits, because this doesn't work with it, but his Empowered Spell. It's 4th level, react. After this wizard spends to cast a spell that requires 1 or more magic saves, increase the DC of the magic save by the wizard's skill. Excuse me. So this can really heavily buff up a Arc Lightning or a Frozen March. Yeah, I don't think it's really necessary most of the time. And again, you can't use this with Medusan Lord's Gambit because you can't even react to Medusan Lord's Gambit. I think there's still merit to it. I'm just not playing it right now. You can also do some things to make your spells reach out a little bit further. Kalten, I found he does do very well against frontliners, but that's not exactly a huge portion of the field, and so he can kind of handle. It's odd. It's kind of a. He doesn't, I think, do as well. Say they're hiding in rank 2 or rank 3. He doesn't really deal with them as well, but that usually means their warlord is not the one who has to try to seal the deal. And most of the characters that are not their warlord are more susceptible to Kalten's ability. Like, they need to roll higher because they're probably not level 5s with, 5th level character skill. But you can run things like Extension Scroll, Curse Spellbook. Invoke Spirit is an interesting one that I don't really like in anyone but Kalten, but this is also a spell, and This enters your discard pile as your, like, pretty much, what is this? Actually, I don't even know if this is the most recent printing. After you pay the cost for a spell, you play this. This has its effect, but this goes to your discard pile, and it's only +1, but all those +1s can add up, so I think that's kind of cool. You can use that to make some of your spells that they might think they're normally safe from. They're not, because even some of the ones that shoot 3 ranks away or target 3 ranks away, you have one of these on, and this can get them when they're in rank 3, so that's kind of cool. And then I mentioned recycling earlier. I don't play these in this deck. Some of these should probably be in here. I'm just not, because I like having lots of spells, because I like to get that save DC up as high as I can get it, and having spells, the spells are doing double duty. They're giving you an effect, and they're giving you skill. You can do Ring of Spell Storing and Robe of the Plains. These both basically are ways to get spells back. Or not Ring of Spell Storing, sorry. I think Ring of Spell Storing is a card, and I think if it does what I think it does, I'm pretty sure it's terrible. Necklace of Spell Storing, excuse me, gives you Scribe, which can be nice. Once per turn, after you cast a non-scribe spell, you make a Scribe check, DC 22, to attach the spell to this wizard as if it had been successfully scribed. Now, basically, with the Scribe bonus and his skill, he's getting +11 to that, so he's got a pretty good... his odds of succeeding on this are already pretty good. And again, it only gets better as more spells enter your discard pile. Robe of the Plains, you don't have to make any checks, but you do have to take a wound. And again, he's kind of... him being in rank 2 sometimes, it can be, you know... you might just randomly die to some Hail Mary that somebody's doing because you've only got 2 hit points left, and this is just these 2 cards, you're only at AC 16. So again, a Temwa Bam might just randomly kill you, and yeah, that sucks when that happens. But I think it's doable. You can also do Staff of Storage. Excuse me. This is just a weapon that you basically, it comes with 7 charges. You can remove you can remove charges to put spells onto it, and then remove a charge and spend the staff to cast one of those spells. This is probably the one I like the least on him, because the spell doesn't go to your discard pile ever unless they get rid of this, and it's only 1 spell, but still, I like my little +1 bonuses from random stuff. So again, I'm pretty sure there's other ways you can play this guy. I say I should probably go look at what people are running, because I know Guardians of the Storm has... I think they have like a deck list section up, but like I don't really care what people are running. I mean, we play Warlord for fun, and this is the kind of dumb stuff that we do. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for checking this out, guys. God bless you, and I will catch you in the next video.